Hi everyone, today we're going to be covering a SPL XI analysis on Sun and Moon overused tier, specifically between Blunder and updated Kanto. Blunder's on the Dragon Spile Tyrants and updated Kantos on the Cryonicals. Blunder goes 2-0 into match, defeating Pasho in week 1 and Swappa in week 2. Last time he had a little bit of luck from the agency freeze on the Como though. And then updated Kanto comes into this game 1-1, beating Pokegame last week and losing versus Insult, but Insult's been on an absolute tier on Sword and Shield overused tier. So this is updated Kanto's real first match in Sun and Moon overused tier, or SMOU per se, in this SPL 11 edition. Some important things to know. Updated Kanto and Blunderr are both pretty well versed in Sun and Moon. I mean, Blunderr was ranked the best overall Sun and Moon pick this SPL in the power rankings, and he's been a very solid Sun and Moon player. As we see last SPL, he just absolutely ravaged through the competition. He had around 7 wins, but then ended up choking finals. For some series of tragic misplays, but they were not too tragic, as we know. The matchup was also skewed, but he did have some lucky matchups at times, to be fair, on both sides. And now we have updated Kanto, who has also been previously been on a decline for a while, but now he's seeming to get back into form or shape. He has a lot of team building help in the work of Extra Shine, and Extra is a very, very offensive HO player, but he also makes more teams, and with his team building support from Extra Shine, he's been doing actually pretty well, and he also got some help from Extra Shine to get into OLT, the last OLT edition. I do believe the last playoffs he was in, he made the cut in one of the cycles. So let's get straight into the battle analysis right now. So first, Blunderr has run a very interesting team with this Sun team going on versus updated Kanto's Volcarona, Medicham, Volturn Core. Blunderr brought the Sun team. I've seen this team on his channel actually. I watched a video on it. He's won quite a few games with it on the ladder, but at the same time, this is not the ladder. So, I mean, I think Blunderr wants to pick an interesting team every week, and I don't blame him. Like, it's fun to play. But then again, I'm not a high-level tournament player, so what right do I have to say in team choices? But it's quite an unorthodox pick from a viewer's perspective. So we see this is Heatrock Torkoal, this is Mega Diancie, Banded Victini, of course, on Sun, defensive Skarmory with Rocky Helmet, leftovers Gastrodon, probably mixed defense, or some SpDef, and some type of Z variant of Venusaur. And sometimes it could be Acid Downpour, sometimes it could be Gloom Doom. It depends. They usually run Growth. Last move HP Fire / Earthquake. Now we know Blunder's team, updated Kanto's team, actually looks something very similar to what Empo used in the past. I think it was one of the Snake Draft matches where I saw this team, last Snake, Smogon Snake Draft, where it was a Landorus, a Magearna, Rotom Wash, or it might have been a Smogon Premier League as well. Volcarona, Medicham, Kartana. That might have been a Lopunny on Empo's team, though, over to Medicham, as he likes Lopunny. But this is the main core. It's like a team I like to spam a lot, except there would be a Greninja over the Volcarona. So the Volcarona is kind of nice in this match in particular versus Sun, where the only real switch-in is that Mega Diancie, which could only live around. You switch it in, it's going to take a lot from Bug Buzz, well, not too much, it like resists a little bit. But after a +1 Quiver Dance, Bug Buzz plus Z move is gonna absolutely threaten everything on this team, and Blunder doesn't have too many answers to that Volcarona. So, and once the Skarmory's down, it's also just clicking territory for Landorus Farian, and also if the Torkoal goes down, then Kartana could also become a threat in the later game. So right now I'm giving the matchup edge to Updated Kanto just because he's a Volcarona versus this entire Sun team that absolutely has no counters to this Volcarona besides the Diancie check. If Blunderr wants to get through Updated Kanto's Volcarona, he's got to predict correctly and make the necessary switches and doubles and plays to get himself in a better position where that Volcarona is not a threat anymore, and neither are his other Pokemon like Landorus, for example, and just like chip away at that and try to overwhelm him with his offense. Okay, so let's get straight into battle right now after the team analysis. So we see lead Torkoal, pretty standard stuff versus Rotom Wash. This is kind of how Sun matchups go. Switching to Gastrodon because Gastrodon's a nice glue for Sun teams because it just absorbs the water type moves. There should be some mixed defense on Gastrodon because you don't want Venusaur taking hits from a Mega Swampert if you do run into rain. We see a Will-O-Wisp on the Rotom, probably just trying to get some 6% damage every single turn on that Gastrodon, neutralizing leftovers. We see Scald here. Blunderr might have been expecting Landorus to come in, or maybe even Kartana, trying to hope for a burn of some sort. Now we see Toxic on the Gastrodon, so that's what his play or style, or his not per se play style, but thought process was. Maybe he's going to switch to Kartana and could get Scald off, but Updated Kanto knows that Kartana could play a potential bigger role in the endgame. So he doesn't switch out yet, but he does get a Volt Switch off, so it's pretty passive right now, but now we see Blunderr go into Victini, and it's got a little bit more interesting. Blunderr stays on the Gastrodon, simply that Rotom would have taken another round of Toxic damage, and they just kind of be... one of them would be forced to switch out because of the rate, probably Updated Kanto, or just he just spam Volt Switch at one point. So now we have Victini, which is probably banded on a Sun team, versus a Landorus. So this Landorus is not Scarf, that Kartana's Scarf, just looking at the team composition. This is probably like Rocky Helmet, or Flyinium Z move, or Leftovers, depends on what he decides to opt for. But since he has a Volcarona on this team, it's probably not Flyinium Z, because that would probably be Bugenium Z on the Volcarona, and now we see Stealth-Rock is up on the Landorus. U-turn out on the Skarmory, and he takes Rocky Helmet damage, and now we see a defog from Skarm, and now the biggest threat from Updated Kanto is here with the Volcarona. We see a Fire Blast on the Skarmory. Blunderr might have been predicting a Quiver Dance, and that's what I think he was expecting here, not an outright attack, because I think what Blunderr was thinking in this position was that Blunderr knew that Volcarona just absolutely destroyed his team. He wants to prevent it from setting up and absolutely sweeping. So he's going to stay in, click Brave Bird on the chance he coordinates, but Updated Kanto takes advantage of what Blunderr presumes he is going to think, and just goes straight for a Fire Blast, so Updated Kanto wins that very, very critical turn. And now it's looking a little bit harder because Landorus has absolutely no resists. I mean, it's Critical Earthquake now. The Skarm's gone. Torkoal's is gonna get 2 KO'd. Diancie's gonna almost die if it's. I mean, it should die regardless. Gastrodon's gonna get 2 KO'd. Venusaur's gonna get 2 KO'd. Victini dies. So now he's got no switch-ins for Landorus. And now that Skarmory is gone, but now let's think about if he switched out into Diancie, maybe he could have had a better way to pivot back in the game. You could have went for a Stealth Rock there, pivoting your Diancie, getting Stealth Rocks. He goes Magearna. You go and that force switches out into, I don't know, maybe Venusaur, and then it gets a little dicey there, because now that looked like a much better end game. But I think the Torkoal should be actually Rocks. I'm not sure what the exact moves on these Pokemon are from what I remember. So yeah, Victini just goes for V-Crate on the Rotom switch, and he didn't really need the Rotom. The Rotom was expendable. because now you just sack the road and get the landers back in. And landers forces an earthquake, and it's almost a free 2 KO and pretty much anything. So I see an earthquake again. It 2 KOs the Torkoal. It's not really a problem. Victini comes in now. It just V creates the landers. So now one threat is gone for Blunderr, but now it's still a very hard position to play in, because now you just go into Medicham or Volcarona and just destroy something. If you're updated Kanto, and he eventually does do this, he makes the play into Medicham. Medicham's the better play here, because it just forces a kill of high jump kick. And if you go into Venusaur, you can still switch out into Magearna and just fake out, because the Sun is limited turns, and also you have Kartana on deck, but I'm not exactly sure how fast that Venusaur is. I think it might be 526 or speed, if I do recall it correctly. So updated Kanto goes for the best objective play, because Volcarona, like, you just can't freely set up on a Band Victini. And now he just high jump kicks at ANC. So now Blunderr has one less answer to Volcarona. Volcarona still is gonna pose a big threat to Gastrodon, because he's not running like a clear smog or anything. And if he's Volcarona, that's even worse if he's clear smog, because now you're gonna play this game with toxics and stuff. It's like it would have been a little bit much easier if the Gastrodon's a Toxapex in this matchup. At the same time, Gastrodon does a nice job at walling the Rotom. So we see high jump kick on the Diancie and it just dies outright, and then we see V-Create happen on the Medicham, so that prompts either Kartana or Volcarona to come in now. Most likely Volcarona, because you just get a free Bug Buzz or on anything, and you can also Bugginium Z anything as well. And this is probably where he goes for a Bugginium Z. Yep, because it's gonna, that in combination with a Bug Buzz should kill a Gastrodon if he's running max special defense. They usually it depends on the set, because you want to take hits from Ash Greninja, so of course you're going to run some SpDef, but if you're not always going to be fully invested, so he just sacks the Venusaur. When he decided to go Gastrodon there, he had a chance to be 2 KO'd. Bugginium Z, so regular Bug Buzz does 33% to get Gastrodon, and it might put it in the range of dying upon switching from the burn as well. So, I mean, either way, if you go Bugginium Z on a Gastrodon, you're still winning a Volcarona and combined with Kartana and Magearna, because Magearna's just a sack at this point. So now, updated Kanto switches into his Magearna and gets absolutely destroyed by a V-Create. And now Volcarona comes back in, just free click Bug Buzz now. And Bug Buzz does 33%, that's actually quite a lot on a Gastrodon. Plus he's not getting the leftovers back, so from the burn. And now comes a very tense game, so if updated Kanto switches into Kartana and Blunderr switches back into Victini, updated Kanto could just click knockoff freely. Knock off the Gastrodon, it's gonna do around like, I don't have an exact calc, but it should nearly be a 2 KO, depending on what the Gastrodon spread. It should definitely be, with the high attack stat, it should be a 2 KO. It's gonna knock off the leftovers, it's gonna do around like 40, and then after the burn, it's gonna do another 20%. It's gonna look so much easier for updated Kanto. If Gastrodon goes for a Scald here on the Volcarona, while Volcarona goes for a QD, that's not going to do really anything. If he clicks Toxic, it's not going to do too much either, because you can't really stall this out. While if you go into Kartana on a Scald, you could risk a chance of losing. And I think the best play is just to go for the Scald. I don't like the next play Blunderr makes. He clicks Earthquake, and this is also an important turn, because if he clicks Scald right there, he had a chance to win, because Leaf Blade 2 KOs to Victini, this is from the Scarf Kartana, And so it just reduced the possibility of that happening. So if you click Scald on the Kartana right here, so you're going to see that the Victini is going to take like around 33% from the Kartana, 32%. And if it does the Kartana gets burnt here with 16%, you can just switch into Victini with 16% on you. But then we get a little bit more intense endgame, because you can just click knockoff as well. So you could click Leaf Blade here, or you could click knockoff, but then it comes into another 50-50. But let's say he went for Leaf Blade and his Blunder went to Victini as his Kartana was burnt. That would force a free kill with the banded Victini, probably on the Kartana. Volcarona comes in, sets up. +1 Bug Buzz is going to do 45%. You'd have to be forced to switch out if you were. You wouldn't switch out if you're Blunder. You just sack the Victini because you don't want that Volk setting up. You recover on a Bug Buzz. That's doing 33%. So now you're at 30%. You're now at 80%. You click Toxic. Now he's just going to start Bug Buzzing, like Quiver Dancing up, and that's a problem. So it's pretty much a locked endgame for updated Kanto at this point. So there's not really much you can do in this position either, because even let's say if you knock off the Gastrodon after you were burnt, if let's say Blunder Scald burned the Kartana, you just click like recover, then Scald, and you'd Scald again, but still you're gonna switch into Volcarona at one point or the other, and you just get your free +1 move up. Because that Victini is not exactly living a +1 Bug Buzz. And this Gastrodon, just seen from damage taken from a Bug Buzz, is at +2, it's just gonna die at this point. And it's not revealing Clear Smog or anything like that, it's revealing Toxic. Even though you put a timer, it still can't recover stall like a Toxapex can on a Volcarona. So we're gonna see updated Kanto lock up this endgame as he goes for a Leaf Blade on the Kartana. It does 32%. This is what I meant by if he burnt, it could have been a little bit more tenser, but I still think he would have cleaned this up. He crits the Victini, it doesn't matter. Leaf Blade wins the game with his Gastrodon. So this is Blunder versus Updated Kanto. Updated Kanto does win in a 2-0 fashion versus Blunder's son with a Volcarona Medicham Volturn team. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of this commentary on Pokemon Sun and Moon OU, and I will catch you next time for a tournament replay.